and gentlemen. Breakdowns, defensively giving up wide open shots. 9 turnovers, 11 points. That's the ball game right there. You can't come in somebody else's house, expect to turn the basketball over and have a chance to win. Let's make the adjustments.
Our 1800 Tequila first half stats. Mark Jackson talking about the team's turnovers. 9 by Golden State, 13 Portland points off those turnovers. The Warriors shooting over 50%, but trailing by 7 at the half. Dave Pasch alongside Hall of Famer Chris Mullin. And Chris, we talked about the fact this is a time of evaluation for both these teams. If you're looking at J.J. Hickson, you got to like what you see, and you know with Jamal Crawford basically what you're going to get from him.
Absolutely. Portland came in tonight averaging 97 points per game, put up 62 in the first half. Jamal Crawford was outstanding off the bench. 21 points on 7-11 from the field, scoring all over the court, hitting threes, getting in the paint, getting to the free throw line. And Mark Jackson mentioned the term. Here's J.J. Hickson. And you talk about making an impression on your new team. Since he's been with the Blazers, he's been very aggressive, scoring and rebounding. The bench a plus 13. Points off turnovers plus 9. And from the free throw line, Portland Trail Blazers plus 7. David Lee leading the way once again for the Warriors. 16 points and 7 rebounds. So overall, a nice offensive half. And we heard earlier on our Wired, both coaches want a little more defense, a little more effort on the defensive end. And that's what they'll be evaluating. How can they respond to what the coach wants?
I just love that you're getting the TV lingo, Wired, and then you're watching the program monitor as we shift from our discussion in Portland to David Lee. You're all over it. You got the interviews down?
Much like these players on the court, a work in progress, trying to mature. Listen to my elder statesmen. Follow your good lead. I just ask for patience.
I noticed when you said elder statesman, you didn't mention me.
Well, experience-wise.
Quick foul on Klay Thompson of Golden State. Here's Batum, who had a couple threes in the first half. Can't connect there. And David Lee with his 8th rebound, all defensive rebounds. Here's Jenkins, one of 3 rookies starting for Golden State. 10th straight game. They've gone with that lineup. Now Washington did that a year ago, starting 3 rookies, including John Wall. Here's Chris Billow with the shot clock at 4. Felton off the bounce, and Felton drains a 3. Been a frustrating year for him here in Portland as Golden State calls it timeout, but he's hoping to finish on a positive. His team up 10 early third. Boston didn't make a move. There was the Rondo trade talk, then there was the Ray Allen trade talk. Question is, are the Celtics good enough to make a run and beat either the Heat or the Bulls in the postseason?
Well, I think they proved on a given night that it's clear they are. And Rajon Rondo is the key to that whole team right there. When he's rolling, Wes Matthews
fouled. Darrell Wright, he's saying I didn't do anything. The guy just missed the dunk, but they say it's a personal on Wright, his first, and the second on Golden State.
But Rajon Rondo is such a unique player. You know, he does, you watch him play. When I watch him, you think you feel what play he's going to make. If they go under the pick and roll, you think he's going to shoot a jump shot, and he keeps his dribble alive, gets in the paint, and it looks like he's in trouble. And next thing you know, he's finding someone for a dunk or kicking out for a wide open 3 to Ray Allen. He's such a unique player. But when the Celtics are rolling, Rajon Rondo is in the middle of everything, and he's just a phenomenal basketball player. Last night against the Heat, getting Kevin Garnett wide open looks and getting everyone in rhythm. And so they're for real. Boston Celtics. Now, can they beat the Heat 4 times is the question. But they can beat them on a given night.
Portland with a 14-point lead, 24-11 run going back to the latter stages of the second quarter. But Darrell Wright drills a 3. Here's Felton out to Batum, a wide open look, and he answers from 3. He can stroke it, huh, Batum?
Absolutely. And probably the best part of his game is defense. So that's a added bonus, is him knocking down three-point shots. But he's I think a rising star.
And Batum pushes Darrell Wright. Second foul on him, first on Portland. That was really the one guy that the Blazers were unwilling to part with. The last couple of years when they've made trade deadline moves, like picking up Gerald Wallace last year and then moving Wallace and moving Camby this year, one guy they felt was untouchable was Batum, and of course LaMarcus Aldridge.
And players like Nicholas Batum, they're so valuable because of their versatility. He's got great size. He can guard every perimeter player defensively. He shoots the three ball. He can handle the ball, make plays. You know, he reminds me a little bit, I'm not going to say in the same category, a Scottie Pippen type player. Multi-dimensional, not at that level, but so many skills.
Here's Lee in transition with the basket. That all started, though, with the block by Klay Thompson on the other end. When it looked like Felton was going to get to the bucket, Thompson comes over and swats it.
And you had asked earlier about his defense. I think another part of Klay Thompson's game, which is maturing and improving each and every game defensively.
His dad, Michael, is the career leader in blocks for the Blazers, as J.J. Hickson tips it in for Portland. Back to a 14-point lead. 17 points for Hickson and 9 rebounds. Lee called for the offensive foul as Przybilla draws the charge. That's 3 on David Lee.
And Dave, you brought up J.J. Hickson, moving around team to team. Sometimes you find the right team, but also a question is being consistent. Can you do it every night? Since he's been here in Portland, he's been very consistent.
Averaging around 13 points per game in 12 contests with Portland. He was under 7 points per game in limited minutes in Sacramento. Last year with Cleveland, he was at 14 points per game. Thompson with a pull-up, no. And Batum with the easy board. And Hickson getting a lot of minutes tonight with LaMarcus Aldridge out with a hip injury. They're going to continue to evaluate that. He's listed as day-to-day, but there's also some concern that Aldridge may not make it back for the rest of the regular season. And with Portland pretty much out of the playoffs, they may want to be careful there not to further the injury.
I'm sure Dallas wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, he's
Friday
killed the
night.
Mavs, huh?
Yes, he has. He's killed a lot of teams, but he gives Dallas a real hard time.
Portland just won in Dallas.
I hope he plays, though.
Of course, one of the great power forwards in this league, an all-star, Aldridge, this year for the first time. The defense on the baseline that time by the Warriors, forcing a turnover as Matthews threw that off the back of the basket. He thought he was pushed. Jamal Crawford, the leading scorer for Portland with 21. Hickson with 17. David Lee with 18 to go along with 10 rebounds. Offensive foul, and that's 4 on Lee. It came on the screen.
Tough play, moving pick by David Lee, but a lot of times it's also the ball handler who doesn't wait for the pick setter to get there. I mean, he takes off too early, and I think Nate Robinson prematurely took off there, and of course David Lee another foul.
If you're Biedrins, why even bother guarding Przybilla out there? He's not going to shoot it. Turnover by Portland. Here's Thompson. Leaves it for Darrell Wright, who puts it in.
And at the other end, I'd say if you're up, his assists are up. Coach of the year, Greg Popovich, incredible job there. You know, who would have thought they'd be right up there with OKC, leading the Western Conference. Injuries to Ginobili. Another guy, Tony Parker's just had an incredible season. I think we had James Harden up there, 6-man.
San Antonio, by the way, is tied with Oklahoma City in the loss column for the top spot, and they have won the season series with the Thunder, so they would have the tiebreaker. They beat them in 3 games twice. after having the best record in the West last year as David Lee is fouled. But of course, San Antonio then lost in the first round to Memphis. Do you see this as a different Spurs team this year? I mean, was that last year about matchup with Memphis more than anything?
Well, it was a tough matchup, but also San Antonio is a different basketball team this year. Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, you know, they added some young athletic players. And San Antonio, as much as any team in the league, they develop within. And they do a great job of getting these guys brought into the system. Of course, Ginobili and Parker and Duncan lead the way.